Okay, ooh. I feel like everybody's looking at me all of a sudden. Ooh. I'm a little bit afraid. Is anybody else in this room afraid? Like, not of me, not of the drunk man screaming at the back of the pizza place. I mean, like, afraid in general. You, sir, what's your greatest fear? Dying. That's a pretty good one, actually. Okay. One of the classic fears. Some people say public speaking, but no, dying would be way worse. Would be way worse. I'm afraid these days, man. I think for the last couple of years the world has sort of gone off track. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like when I look at the news, I want to go back to the good old days. Do you remember the good old days? Do you remember the good old days? Sorry? You forgot the good old days. Okay, well, no more crowd participation. How about that? Remember the good old days? Before the pandemic, before the rise of the right wing, before the genocides in the Middle East, before the invasion of Europe, before the collapse of the biosphere. Do you remember the good old days? 2019, ringing any bells for you, sir? They were the good old days, the very last good old days. 2019, when I think back of those problems in 2019, they were juicy problems, happy problems, bubbly problems. Do you remember 2019 problems? Do you remember? Remember when Australia was on fire? They were good old days, right? Do we have any Australians in the room? We have one. The rest of them died in the fire. I'm so sorry. 6 million koalas died. That's what Australians. I for the last 4 years, I've been having this recurring nightmare where every day I wake up. Anybody else? Anybody else been waking up recently? It's not very good, is it, man? This world has been hijacked by politics. You can't go outside the door anymore without politics, politics, politics. Are you on the left? Are you on the right? Leave me alone. I'm at a house party. I was at a house party a couple of weeks ago, and I was in the corner with my friend, sharing a cheeky joke. And then a girl came up and tapped me on the shoulder. Turned around, I said, hello. She said, how can you laugh? At a time like this. Said, at a time like this, lady, it's 4 a.m. and I'm snorting coke in a kitchen. She said, no. There are televised genocides. There are polar bears dying. The koalas, gone, they're gone. The koalas are gone. She said, the biosphere is collapsing. She said, the insects are going extinct. She said, where are the flies, Ronan? Where are the flies? I said, lady, take it easy. Don't worry about the flies, okay? The flies are okay. The flies are not gone extinct. All of the missing flies live in my kitchen. Got a dirty kitchen is what I'm trying to say. My name is Ronan. I'm from Ireland, just in case that wasn't immediately and offensively obvious. I'm from a small little shithole in Ireland that you've never heard of. It's called Cork. Wow, yeah, it's basically, the Maastricht of Ireland, yeah, for sure. Yeah, not a lot going on in my city. We have 2 main exports you might have heard of. 2 main exports in my city that will have any international recognition. We export Jameson and 100% of the world's Viagra. That's us. We're essentially exporting the cure and cause of whiskey dick. We call it the circular economy, guys. If you can't get a job at Jameson or Viagra, you are in some big trouble. Not a lot of job opportunities in my city. Sometimes I wonder, like, where it all sort of went wrong in my life, you know? Where did it all go? Why am I the only one of my friends screaming at the back of a pizza joint? Why is it me? And I think all my problems in life, they sort of lead back to school. When I was in school, right, I was a bully. I can admit it. Do we have any bullies in the room? Come on, this is like 40% Dutch people. We have no bullies? Any victims in the room? Okay. Well, look, I was a bully, all right? When I was in school, I would push little boys, I would kick little girls and steal their lunch money. Then I got fired. Not a teacher anymore. But I still wanted to help the world, to help my country, you know? So when I left teaching, I did the next best thing to help the world. I joined the Irish Army. And I did get fired from the army as well. It's actually quite difficult to get fired from an army that has never had a war. Basically, never went to work. Why was I fired? Simply put, I was caught masturbating in the barracks. Now, no, you don't get fired for masturbating in the barracks. As we all know, the army is... Yes, gay as fuck. Thank you, sir. Incredibly homoerotic job to have a load of boys wanking in the barracks. But it was the way I was wanking. I was caught ejaculating directly onto an Irish flag. Yeah, in the business they call that a dishonorable discharge. Yeah. So now I'm here in Amsterdam, I'm trying to become more Dutch, I'm trying to integrate into Dutch society. Obviously not learning the language, but I'm trying to be Dutch in other ways, For instance, I've just recently started being rude to strangers in the street. So that's going well, but I like it here. I like the Dutch, very futuristic, very pragmatic people. I really like it. There's many differences between Dutch people and Irish people, especially I think when it comes to being sexually open, right? Because in Ireland we have this kind of this national thing where you don't really talk about sex. You don't talk about sex, and then Dutch people are so open that they will tell you about their STDs, like openly. Do we know STDs? A sexually transmitted disease. That's not the Dutch word. What do the Dutch call them? A SOA, yeah. I think that's a much more pragmatic term, because if I was to tell somebody that I had given them gonorrhea, I would start the conversation by saying, very open people. I have a Dutch girlfriend now. A Dutch girlfriend. We went for a walk recently. I live in Amsterdam. I live in the red light district. And literally above the sex workers, and they're right below me, but I do not look down on them. And we were walking through the red light district, and my girlfriend saw a sex shop. She's like, "Oh, let's go into the sex shop. Let's go in." And I was like, "Nah, okay." And I'm walking around, keeping the eyes down, and she's like fucking Charlie in the chocolate factory, going, "Oh my God, wow! Look at that one! Look at that! Look at that one! Imagine what you could do with that." And I thought, come on, you're completely emasculating me here. Look at the size of that. That's not even realistic. No one has a penis 7 inches long. That's completely insane. And then I saw, in the corner of my eye, I saw a little a pegging kit hanging up. Are we all familiar with pegging? One girl nodded, okay. Explain to the class what pegging is. Okay, actually, I'll ask himself. So, buddy. No, pegging is when you have a little sort of dildo-y thing attached to underwear, and then, whatever you want to do. You do some dildoing. And but the thing about this pegging kit, it was the exact same size and proportion and dimensions of my penis. So I took it down and I thought, oh my God, she's going to recognize this. So I showed it to her. I said, "Hey, what do you think of that one?" And she said, "Oh, that's so cute. It says perfect for beginners." I found out 3 weeks ago I have a beginner's-sized penis. It's the perfect cock for someone who's never had cock. Let's talk about something else. Anything you want to talk about, sir? Cool, all right. Do you like movies? I'm gonna stop talking to you. This is being recorded, sir. It's like, oh, he's definitely a plant. They definitely put that guy in the front row to help the show. He's getting paid €55 to just go. Well, that's okay. We'll talk about movies. Okay, movies. I like movies. Yeah, that's all my movie stuff. No, I like indie movies, bougie, kind of low budget movies. Any indie movie fans in the room? Yes. Yes. This is a bizarre crowd. Okay, I'll keep talking. Yeah, I like underground movies, low budget stuff. Like, has anybody ever seen? Let's think. Titanic. Anybody ever seen Titanic? To know, did you get it here? I remember when I went to Titanic. Actually, let's use the stool. Let's leave the stool. It's about. When I went to Titanic, it was in 1997, and I was 10 years old, right? And Titanic was 12, so you had to be 12 to go to Titanic's. And not because of 2,500 people die, horrific, disgusting deaths, not about the hopelessness or the misery. Titanic was 12s in Ireland because there was a pretty raunchy sexual scene. Do we all remember the hand? The sweaty hand? You saw the whole hand as well. Nothing was left to the imagination. And it was a little bit embarrassing going to see this movie with my Catholic Irish parents. And on the way back, we'll use the stool. On the way back, my father was driving us home. So my father is in the driver's seat, and my mother was in the passenger seat because she's a woman. And it was the 90s. It was the 90s, guys. And 10-year-old me is sitting in the back seat. And then my father turned around, and he said, "Did you see that?" Did I see what, Daddy? Did you see when they locked all the Irish people up at the bottom of the Titanic to die? So what? Is that what that movie was about, Dad? Is that what I saw? And my mother said, "Excuse me, what? You are filling the child's head with your nationalistic nonsense. They did not lock all the Irish people up at the bottom of the Titanic to die. They locked all the poor people up at the bottom of the Titanic to die." And my father said, "That's right. The English had kept the Irish artificially poor through 800 years of colonial misery and oppression, and then in 1912 they did lock all the poor people, i.e. Irish people, up at the bottom of the Titanic to die." And my mother said, "That may be true, but you're making the child think it was some kind of racist endeavor when it was purely about class." My father said it was about race. She said it was about class, race, class. And meanwhile, 10-year-old me is sitting in the back of the car thinking about Kate Winslet's tits. Oh! I'm getting all sweaty. I gotta go away. Thank you very much, boys and girls.